noises and the road noises. We got some rain today, but it's just cool enough to want to be outside. So fighting off a sinus thing. Once in a while, that throat closes up. I made it through a 10-hour shift yesterday. My voice is a lot better, but I think yesterday I could barely talk. But I had a cocktail. Well, I had a hot toddy and a cocktail, and I start feeling better. Today, a little bit better than yesterday, I think. But every once in a while, that throat closes up completely, and I can't figure out what's going on. But nevertheless, so I made myself a Sazerac cocktail, which I'm going to strain right now, right before your very eyes. And what I have in this cocktail is I decided to use so I have the Neely's rye here. Let me show it to you. I didn't use it for this cocktail because, as you can see, I've had this bottle for a short time, but I've drank that much out of it. I'm trying to, I was using that because I have their absinthe to make this drink, their absinthe birthday. So I was using that. So well, let's try it with a different rye, so I don't use all of that up. And I may try it with a bourbon here, really shake things up. But anyway, French Oak Harvest Rye. This is their sweet mash straight rye finished in toasted French oak. This is a collaboration whiskey with Mellencamp whiskey. It is at the 104 proof. Not a cask, but it's up there. So I've got that whiskey. I've got that absinthe for a rest. Take the atomizer, if you will. And of course, with this cocktail, it has to be the one and only Faison bitter. I did add some in, or I put a couple dashes in strain, but I like to add a couple dashes there at the end too, to boost the aromatics, if you will. I don't know that I'll ever be one to drink absinthe on its own, although I am in the process of procuring the correct apparatus so I can drink it correctly. But I got to tell you, I do love this cocktail. I love the flavors that it adds. It's more or less an old fashioned, but with that absinthe rinse, changes the game completely. So I use one brown sugar cube in this, not brown sugar, brown color sugar cube, raw sugar cube. Let me just say that. Maybe that would be easier. Though. Anyways, I digress. My first alcohol of the day. I also wanted to pour some of this whiskey needs go or for me. Yeah. So I wanted to see where the baseline. I've had it, but I'm curious to adding other things. How much I'm changing the whiskey. Well, this is a ounce and a half glass, and it's got almost all of it. So I'm just gonna pour the rest of it, and it probably gets me right close to 2 ounces there. Might as well finish it up. I have really enjoyed this. I bought this back in May, so I've had it a while. Oh yeah, it's nice. So yeah, adding that sugar cube and then that absinthe. I was just curious how much of the whiskey I was still hanging on to. Anyways, how the heck are you? I am off today and this weekend. So I thought I'd pop out to my bar, my little corner of the world, my garage actually. But I got my dad's old bar out here. Like I said, with the rain, it's cooled everything down. So I'm not dealing with bugs and flies today, which is one of the reasons I decided to come out here. I'm going to go inside shortly, and I'll finish up anything else I'm going to do today in there. But I want to come out here and at least do the one live video with y'all. See how the world was treating everybody. I'm doing fine. Doing all right, man. Don't worry about me. trying to, change the way I go at things. I tend to wear my heart on my sleeve and say what's on my mind at any given moment, and it's hard for me not to do that. I don't really have a filter, but with the state of the way things are today, um, the bizarre and hateful politics, I've had people go to my employer about my personal page, so I've had to watch it. What I say, so I'm staying away from politics, and that's very hard for me to do, because I'm very vocal about my beliefs. And my shirt says, "Just so we're clear, slavery is bad." And here's the thing: is that shouldn't be a political statement. We all should be in unity, saying, "Yes, Tom, it is," and we should teach that so we don't make that mistake again. But wearing a shirt like this has become political, and I can't figure that out. When did some start thinking slavery was good? It boggles the mind. This is my kind of quiet rebellion. I'm not going to go in depth about my views. They're all out there anyway. If anybody really wants to find them, but did kind of break my heart when I found out that who well, one of the folks who had went to my employer about my personal page, because it's somebody that I had sat right next to, somebody that I have a friend that's a friend on social media, someone that I thought was a friend in real life, somebody that I've sat right next to and had a beer with. So finding that out was painful, I must admit. But I want to talk about something even more controversial than that. I know I'm going to risk it all right here. Because man, some things sometimes you got to be willing to die on that hill. So here's the hill I'm willing to die on. What the fuck up was our? What the fuck? What the fuck? I just started drinking. What the fuck is up with Arby's and steak nuggets? There is no such thing as a steak nugget. Now, it's been a society a long time. We've identified chicken nuggets. We've said that's okay. But steak should never be a nugget, man. And then at the end of the commercial, at the very end of the commercial, they say, "Why didn't somebody think of this sooner? Why didn't somebody think of this sooner? Have you never heard of steak tips, Arby's? And has that never crossed your mind? Steak tips, beef tips, sirloin tips, tenderloin tips. Have you not heard of any of them? No, we're gonna have chunks, and we're just gonna call them nuggets and say nobody ever thought of it before. How fucking stupid you think we are, Arby's? I mean, the roast beef they're passing off in sandwiches is barely edible for human consumption. I have no idea what kind of great a steak they're giving us. That's a hill I'm willing to die on. There should never be anything called a steak nugget. And no, I will admit I haven't tried. Have you tried them, Tom? They're quite good. No, I haven't tried them, and I'm not going to because I'm sure they're not quite good. I'm sure they're probably akin to shoe leather. Steak nuggets. I mean, really? Why didn't somebody think of this? Well, somebody did, Arby's. Most people call them beef tips or steak tips, or to fine tune it, sirloin tips, tenderloin tips, depending on what you're using. If you want to get fancy, some call them burnt ends, but that's a whole other thing. But it's kind of the same idea. Next thing they know, they're going to call them barbecue nuggets, like nobody's ever heard of a fucking burnt end before. All right, bring it down a notch, Tom. Let it go. And that's as controversial as I'm going to get today. Arby's. Man, that commercial. Why didn't somebody think of this? Really? You've never heard of a beef tip? A steak tip? Nobody's ever been stupid enough to ever call it a nugget, but they've existed, Arby's. Steak nuggets. Jesus fucking Christ. Jesus H. Christ. Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. You cannot call them steak nuggets. Anyways, launch it. Boy, that is a damn fine cocktail. With so I really love this with the Neely's sweet cup because this is a big, well-rounded rye at 65%. It's that cask at 110.6. The hard truth is at 104. What's interesting about this is that extra, that French oak finish makes it a tad sweeter. You get that extra little vanilla. It really changes the cocktail quite a bit. Is it better? Is it worse? Well, that's really between you and your palate. For me, in all honesty, I like the boldness of the Neely's, but I like what this does as well. Which really makes a nice balanced cocktail. And I like that extra vanilla myself. But I tell you, I'm starting to become a Sazerac junkie. So for the most part, anyway, I do make my old fashioned straight up like this. Although most places like to serve them with a large cube. If under 40 drinkers really tend to want that ice. But for me, I like a straight up cocktail. So I typically make any old fashioned, whether it's a Sazerac or not, straight up. So I like the fact that the Sazerac traditionally is served straight up. Typically served in a rocks or whiskey neat glass. Uh, I'm told so. Some upper crust cocktail lounges will serve it in a coupe, and there's nothing wrong with that, really. Because I tend to like to drink out of a coupe for the most part, but I do understand why this particular cocktail is served this way. A lot of it is tradition, but I love this type of glass. This is a little smaller than your standard rocks glass, which makes it perfect for whiskey neat drinking. Oh man, kill this bottle. I've been trying to eliminate a lot of stuff I've had open. I've gotten close. So I haven't opened anything new yet for. Well, no, that's not true. I was gonna say I haven't opened anything new for October, but I did. So I can make the second. That's not 100% true. But I haven't opened up another bottle new for this month yet. I've been kind of waiting. Want to get through a few things. I've ordered a few things in. I'm gonna try to wait on. I got a couple specialty, almost pre-mixed kind of things, and I ordered last year. I bought the vanilla. I, last year, I bought the vanilla cherry bourbon from St. Elmo's, St. Elmo Steakhouse product made for them. It's at 80 proof. So, but at that proof, I mean, you can drink it as, I was using it a lot to make holiday cocktails. You add some little cream down to it, and then you've got a cherry cordial, basically. But then I also ordered their espresso martini mix, or I don't at 70 proof. I'm going to hang on to those. I'm going to try not to open them until right about the week of Thanksgiving. And I've got a couple other things coming in as well. I've decided I don't want to buy. Well, back in May, a Total Wine opened, which is great, which opened it up a lot of products, but it's still not giving me a lot of stuff that I would like to have. Not being able to take the vacation we wanted to this year. I was so bummed that I wasn't going to be able to get certain products. So that's why I researched so I could found out I could have the Neely shipped to me. And I also realized there were some other products I can have shipped to me. So I'm starting to do that. Rather than go to my liquor store, I'm going to find the stuff that I can't get here, even if I've got to pay for shipping. But a lot of the products, if you buy, up to a certain amount, they throw with the shipping. So I've got a couple other things coming in. And I'm hoping to get to Kansas City in a couple weeks. So I'll buy a few things up there. So I'm trying not. I've been avoiding the liquor store like a plague. Is what I'm getting at. Uh, Damn, that is a damn fine cocktail. I will tell you again. I mean, it's 104. I mean, it's a little bit less proof, but that's not a weak whiskey, right? But that French oak harvest rye is a tad sweeter, so it does change the cocktail quite a bit. I do have a cask bourbon that I'm curious about trying it with, so I may do that after a while. But this has become my go-to old fashioned, if you will, that Sazerac cocktail. Man, it is just gorgeous. And I tell you, this Neely's Absent Verte is just superior, man. This stuff is gorgeous. It just makes that drink something special. So I'm gonna finish this, and we'll move on to the rest of the video, if you will. If I will, what, Tom? Begging it. Can you believe this thing? Why hasn't anybody thought of this? Because nobody's ever been stupid enough to call a steak tip a nugget before. What the fuck is wrong with you people? Steak nuggets. Okay, I'm going to let chicken nuggets go. It's been accepted in our society for a long period of time, so I'm not going to fight that. But steak nuggets, no, Arby's, I'm not letting you have it. I'm going to die on this hill. There is no such thing as a steak nugget, by golly. Anyway, I digress. Watch it. So I brought out one beer from Minocqua Brewing Company out of Wisconsin. This is a brewery that has decided to take a stand. One of Wisconsin's many treasures is Weiss beer with natural lemonade flavor. Tammy Shandy. Oh gosh, I don't know if I can read this. My lighting isn't good in here. This is white lettering on gold. We might have to wait for that story for the beer. We'll see if I can get to that story here. I don't have great lighting at this moment in time. Using this as kind of a palate cleanser here. Is that 5% even, which is pretty good for a shandy. I'd expect it to be a little less. Many are, 4, 4.5. 5 is nice. Progressive beer started when we closed our brew pub because Donald Trump played politics with COVID-19 and Mitch McConnell let restaurants twist in the wind. Yeah, it was a tough time, man. I was kind of surprised we didn't lose more restaurants and breweries. They made it tough. Tell you what, when things were first allowed to get back going, they could sell beer, but they couldn't open the tap rooms or brew pub areas yet. So a lot of places were doing specials. If they canned beer, they were doing canned beer specials. Some were doing crowler specials. So one brewery in town, Springfield Brewing Company, I'll mention them by name, I was doing something called a brewer's case. You had to purchase it online. There was no contact with anybody. You had to wear a mask. All the employees would be wearing masks when you go to pick it up. But it was $28 for a case of beer. The caveat being it's a brewer's case, meaning they gave you 4 packs of their choosing. And I'll be honest, I knew the folks, so they would let me pick the 4 packs. They would tell me, "Was there time or anything different?" I said, "No, that's fine." But anyway, yeah, I mean, you pop the trunk, they put it in there, you drive off. It was perfect. But because oh wow, that ain't bad. But because hey, that's good, man. Because they only did that on Tuesdays, and set up the other runs, right? Tie and Timber. would do a special 3 crowlers for 25, I believe. So it was like usually like 3 IPAs, So I would set that up, and then another brewery would do 2 growlers and a pizza for 25. So I'd set that up. Sometimes a couple other things. So bottom line, I would set up everything once a Tuesday was my day to get out. I'd only get out on Tuesdays. Pay for it all online. I go to the Springfield Brewing Company, pop the trunk, hey Tom, they put it in the bag. I go to the other one, hey Tom, they put it in the bag. I go to the last one, hey Tom, put it in the bag. That was great. There was a lot of bad things about COVID in 2020. There's a lot of things that were mishandled, but I love I love that curbside service was born out of it. I was kind of sad that a lot of places let it go away because I kind of really got to enjoy that, especially from Springfield Brewing Company. I was doing that well after I was able to get back to work. I was putting my orders in, going to pick it up. I'd usually set up for after work, because then once I got back to work, then I'd set it back up. But then everything just kind of went away. Everything good that came out of it went away. See if I can read more of this here for you after I told my story there. We hung a Biden sign in the reddest part of Wisconsin in defiance of our Republican county board threat to fine us. Again, I'm reading from the can. Don't want anybody to take offense here. Go squealing again. We won the battle and are now focused on brewing awesome beer for the people who care about lifting those that are less fortunate and making politics in northern Wisconsin as clean as our lakes and streams. And that's nice. Yeah, I just don't understand. I don't know when just doing the right thing became a political issue, right? I don't know when just being a decent human being and caring about others became a political issue, while feeding poor people became somehow a divide between the right and the left. I can't make it make sense. Getting back to steak, that should not be a thing, man. This is the last of this bottle, and I really enjoyed it. I haven't seen anything from Mellencamp whiskey on its own out here, and I don't know if that's something that I can get or order in. I haven't been able to find out as of yet, but I am curious because I became a fan of Hard Truth products last year. We stopped in Indiana, well, stopped in Indianapolis, I guess. Uh, we spent 2 nights there, and then on our way to Columbus last year for our main vacation. But I wasn't familiar with them really until then, and I really became a fan of their products. But now some of them are not; their whole line isn't available here. But a few products show up at that Total Wine from time to time. But I haven't bought anything out there since May. We saved up to go on a vacation in August, and originally it was supposed to be Cincinnati, but we couldn't pull that off. We had some other things pop up, so we ended up going to Little Rock instead. Most of them had a couple of friends out there that I had seen in a while, so that was fun. Anyway, so I was able to pick up some stuff from Rocktown Distillery in Little Rock. That was nice. But after doing that, I started thinking, why don't I just keep doing that? Right? Not necessarily just keep going to Little Rock, but some lockdown products I can order and have shipped to me. So I started thinking about, well, instead of going to the liquor store, I'm going to get stuff that isn't available to me here. That's kind of my new thing. I don't know how long I'll be able to keep it because I'm about to buy less and drink less. And I'm okay with that. I'd rather be, I'd rather drink well than drink a lot. I don't need a lot. I just want good product when I have something. So that's kind of my thing at the moment is I want to pick up things that I can't get in my area right here. And oddly enough, even though Kansas City's less than 3 hours from here, there's Kansas City distillery products that I can't get here. I know that's crazy, but it's true. So when I'm out there, I'm going to try to grab some stuff. Uh, I've never been to Jay Rieger, so I'm making a special point to hit them this time. Um, I originally intended to hit them back in 2019 when we stayed a few days out there. I got to Tomstown and a few other places, but I never made it there. And a couple of years ago, I got to didn't get to Tomstown again, but I got to Restless Spirits and Union Horse. But again, I never made it to Jay Rieger. So this time, it was. I'm only going to have one day, so I've only planned. If I get to other places, great. But I've only planned the one stop, which is Jay Rieger. So I'm going to hit there. I've always wanted to go to the Monogram Lounge and now they're Hey Hey Club, which is a kind of a upscale speakeasy type of cocktails. And I do have their membership to get special for, so I'm very excited about that as well. So I'm not spending any liquor money. I'm not spending any money yet. I'm trying not to spend any money. Let me say that. Some things can't be helped. But I'm trying to stay at home this weekend. We're trying to save it up so I can grab some stuff when we get out there. So, anyways, anyways, I'm not typically a fan of shandies, and I'll be honest, a vice beer with natural lemonade flavor, I'm not typically a fan, and I'll be honest with you, this is not something I'd ever order on my own or buy again. However, here's the however. However, it is done very well. A lot of shandies tend to be a little too sweet or watery for me. And although you do get the lemonade here, it's not so much where you kill that original vice beer. And that's my thing. I don't want you to add so much where you kill the beer completely. And I can still taste that original vice. So, anyways, here's to you. As I enjoy the rest of my day off. Yeah, I do love every once, like I said, every once in a while that I don't you may have noticed a couple times that Phil kind of closed on me, so I think I'll pause. But my voice is a lot better today. I didn't do a video last night on a Friday because I couldn't talk last night. By the time I got off work, I mean it was brutal. I'm pretty good at faking it though. I act like I'm happy. And I do a little dance, try to sing, and then I kind of go around the corner and go, oh, yeah, that hurt a little bit. But you got to make the folks there think you're doing all right. I know I fooled a few because then one of them even said, "You must be feeling better now, aren't you?" I said, "Well, maybe I'm faking." Oh, you couldn't fake that. I guess I'm a better actor than I thought I was, or you're more gullible. You're either arrogant or gullible. I'm not sure which, but nevertheless, I was faking it. Uh, I am gonna miss this one. I may have to buy that one again at some point. But here's the thing. I'm kind of a different drinker, I guess. Every time I get talking whiskey with somebody will, well, what you go to? I don't have a go to. I drink what's available. I drink what I can find. And I don't mean that in buying, lower tier stuff. I mean that in buying small product stuff. Yeah, I mean, for instance, Four Finger Distillery out of Indianapolis. Unfortunately, they don't ship to me. I bought some of their products that if they were available to me, they might become go tos because they're just that good. And I would love to have them again. but I've got a friend that says, "Well, I don't want to really like something I can't ever get again." And I said, "Well, that's kind of the point, isn't it? I mean, I want to find something, not necessarily because I could never get it again, but having that one thing that you have to go back for some reason. That's why I was glad to find out that I could get some of the Neely products online. I really don't have a go-to. And I'll tell you something else different about me. I'm not a big fan of wheated bourbons. I have a bottle of Buffalo Trace. I have a, I do. Uh, but I do prefer traditional bourbons that use rye as a secondary. That's what's kind of different about them. But wheateds are a little sweeter, they're a little softer, and they're very popular right now. But I guess I'm just an old school guy. I love that rye content. And I tell you what, the older I get, though, I'm becoming a rye drinker specifically. The Neely rye is at 65%, but I recently finished a bottle of New Riff that was 100% malted rye, and now that bottle was just exquisite. I gotta tell you, that 100% malted rye, oh my lord, that was insane. So, but I have found the ryes that I prefer are the higher content ryes. I am becoming more of a rye drinker in my old age because they're a little less sweet than bourbon is. And the bourbons that I enjoy are the smaller corn content. So if your bourbon has between 52 to 55% corn, those are the bourbons I'm going to prefer. Although I will tell you, the Rocktown bourbons that I've had are much, much higher than that, and they've been done extremely well too. So, but I do love that high rye content. I had a bourbon a while back that was like 52% corn, but 35% rye. The rest was malted barley. So, oh, this one is perfect. I wish everybody would do this. anyway, anyways, I digress. I am Tom, the Whiskey Whisperer, Whiskey Evangelist, prolific whiskey drinker, purveyor of wisdom, and Minocqua Brewing. I'm proud of a brewery that's actually willing to take a stand. I work for a small brewery in town, and I can't talk about politics because somebody will talk to my employer about my personal page. That's how things have become in this country. You cannot. Hey, Wolf, how are you doing, man? Just now saw your comment. I'll put it up there. Sorry about that. You can't say what you feel anymore because if somebody takes umbrage to it, all of a sudden, oh God, oh man, oh, my stomach hurt just thinking about that. No. I didn't think anybody drank that on purpose. Uh, I'm just not a quantity drinker anymore. I want to drink good stuff and relax and enjoy. Anyways, we'll leave the rest of it behind. I am Tom the Beer Whisperer, Beer Evangelist, prolific drinker, purveyor of wisdom, and oh, mercy, Percy, all around good guys, lunch you.